All right, today I am in Luling, Louisiana, and I am going to be taking a look at this citrus tree here behind me and look at what needs to be pruned out of it and go ahead and do some of the work and give some tips on what needs to be done to citrus trees to get them right. All right, so this is a Satsuma tree, and it's got a nice shape to it, good size. You can see that there's a few little things that went a little crazy. It's a little dense, so what we're going to be looking at is thinning it out to get some air movement on the inside, and take a look at anything else that needs to be corrected. So one of the first things that you want to do is you want to check out the base of any of your citrus trees. That is assuming it's a grafted tree. Most of the trees that we get in nurseries are grafted trees, so that means they're actually growing onto the rootstock of a different plant. And what happens though is that rootstock wants to keep growing, so it will put out these shoots coming up from the rootstock, and you can see that they're often very thorny. That is the properties of the plant. It's called a trifoliate, or bitter orange, and this shoot goes way up. That's actually what we were seeing that was so tall earlier. So one of the first things we're going to have to do is take that out, and we can look and we'll see that there's another one on the other side that's even larger. So let me show you that. Like I said, this one is even bigger. It comes up and goes all the way up through the center of the tree. This is not exactly the best example of what to look for. It's a little difficult to tell what's the actual rootstock and where the desired tree begins, but we do know that this is all trifoliate, so this is actually gone for a long time. So one of the things I use to do my trimming is a power saw, but any kind of tree pruning saw would work for this application. All right, so we want to be careful. We don't want to harm the tree. There we go. All right, that needed to come out. Let's see how long we have this thing. So that's what we just pulled out of there. By the way, this is Mr. Ross. This is his tree. Yes, that is a nasty bit of work right there. Those thorns are very sharp, so be careful when you're dealing with them. All right, now we're going to take care of this one on this side. There we go. Well, now that I've taken care of the suckers coming up from the rootstock, I'm going to go into this tree and see what needs to be removed. So first thing I'll do is point out some of the things I'm looking for, and then I'll set up the tripod and do the work. One of the first things that we're going to look for is wood, is limbs that are crossing over and rubbing against other limbs. So, for example, this limb here is actually crossed over inside and is going to be contacting this branch here. So we have a choice. We either take this branch out or we take this branch out. I think that this would be the choice we're going to make here. We're also going to be taking out anything that's growing into the interior of the tree. So this piece is just growing up into the interior, crossing all the way to the other side, so there's no reason for that. We want this tree to grow outward. So this little piece right here, it's not only crossing over this branch and rubbing, but it's also, and you can see, if we just pull this aside a little bit, you can see the indentation that this branch is already making, this branch is making in this branch. It's making this large indent where it's trying to mold around it. Well, it's just going to get rid of that thing altogether. We also want to just clean up the inside to get some air movement inside. Like I said, we're going to take care of these inward growing things. One of the problems with blocking the air movement is that we don't, it promotes disease growth, disease formation. So, and we're also going to look at taking some of the height out of this tree. So we'll cut some of these tall branches back down to a reasonable height. So that's primarily what we're going to be doing, and I'll show you what we do. This is actually a piece where I cut. So typically when you cut a branch in two, you really want to go back to the nearest place where there was a split. So if you look at this piece of wood right here, you can see there's a collar around here. And if this would have been cut just a little bit lower, this would have sealed over and healed itself. So this branch probably broke, but this whole nub thing was just kind of sticking out. So we wanted to get rid of that and maybe train a healthier branch to grow where that is. One tip is maybe you'll notice I'm taking my time trying to decide what to cut. So yes, be careful. Make sure you know you want to cut something before you do. You can't glue it back, it's not going to work. So take your time, be thoughtful about your cuts as you're doing it. It's also a good idea to pull away anything that's going to be touching the ground. If that gets any fruit on it, it's just going to be dragging down in the mud anyway. got it. Let's take a look at what we've done. All right. So as you can see, it's a lot more open. I guess you can definitely see light all the way through now, which is good. That wind is going to come through, and it'll also let better light penetration come in and give the tree more energy. So I tried to make my cuts nice and flush with that collar. A lot of the cuts I did make were just repair cuts, taking out old little nubs that were left. Where I cut it for height, I tried to cut it where there was another branch coming off to the side, or at least a leaf bud. Oh, there we go. So you can see I made my cut right above this other branch here. So this is really going to do well here. It's going to, all three of these guys are going to take over. So I've taken the height out of it. If you can't reach the fruit, what's the point of having it? Back here in the back, I did take a little bit. I was getting a little too close to his storage container here. And of course I took out that rootstock material. So that's it. This is, by the way, this is January 2021. This is the middle of January. It's the 13th actually. January 13th, and it's perfect time to prune your citrus tree.